Bring you the news update at this time. And we begin with the South Sudan crisis, where about 364 Nigerian evacuees from Egypt touched down the Nnamdi Azikiwe airport in Abuja late Wednesday night. The Nigerian evacuees were received by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, the Director General of National Emergency Management Agency, and other dignitaries. The evacuees were made up of men, women, and children, which when they arrived, were given a sum of 100,000 naira donated by the Aliko Dangote Foundation and a dignity pack containing hygiene essentials. Although it is now a question of what the future holds, the Nigerian evacuees express appreciation as they recollect the 7 harrowing days they had to spend at the Egyptian border. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs also confirmed that 4 more airplanes are expected to bring back other evacuees today.
That was the second home too.
How long have you been there?
18 years. 18?
Yes.
Oh. I was settled. I did not know that I was ready. I would just have to put everything behind and run out of the church. And after coming, leaving the house, we left our homes last week Wednesday to go to Egypt. But we're stranded at the border for a week. Because of course, you don't blame them. They also have to be careful for some security reasons. So that was why they would not allow people in. Conditions have to be met. So Alhamdulillah, the Nigerian government managed to meet the requirements, and because I was in constant communication with the NEMA, the Humanitarian Affairs, and every other person involved, and they were walking around the clock. They were on their feet. They tried their best. Though people were complaining, but the conditions given by the government of Egypt was too. Yes, they did everything within their means, and Alhamdulillah.
Now, with just about 48 hours until the coronation, or the crowning rather, of King Charles III, millions of people across the UK and beyond are already preparing to witness the symbolic ceremony, which would be a combination of a religious service and pageantry. The ceremony is to hold at Westminster Abbey on Saturday, May the 6th, and the king, who will be crowned along with Camilla, the Queen Consort, will be the 40th reigning monarch crowned there since 1066. The day will feature customs dating back more than 1,000 years, with formal celebrations officially kicking off with a procession from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey. The processions will be made up of faith leaders and representatives from some Commonwealth countries, who will carry the flags of their country and be accompanied by governors general and prime ministers. These will include UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who will also give a reading later in the service. The ceremony is due to begin at 11 a.m. President-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu says Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike was instrumental to the victory of the All Progressives Congress in the presidential election. He reflected on the concluded election in Port Harcourt, where he is visiting to inaugurate some state government projects. Senior reporter Uche Okoro has details.
The president-elect is on a 2-day walking visit to Rivers State. His mission is to inaugurate the 12th flyover constructed by the Nyesom Wike administration. But the president-elect took some time to acknowledge the role that Governor Wike played in securing victory for the APC in what was described as a fiercely contested presidential election.
I am a very happy man. Happy because I went through a gruesome campaign, fought hard, beat myself, supported by many of you, and I won. Fair and square. Nyesom I say thank you for your contribution to my victory. Your Excellency.
The former Lagos governor commended Governor Wike for standing firm on his conviction that it was time for a southern president to emerge.
And His Excellency, I see a man of principle. He took a principled stand that the presidency must return to South. And he has the courage to stand by his convictions, not minding whose ox is gone.
Our visionary, the governor.
Governor Wike chose not to talk politics this time. Instead, he made a demand for refund of money spent by the states for projects on federal government roads.
If we have said because they are federal government roads and we don't do it, who are those to suffer? Is it not we? Is it not Rivers people? So since we have said, look, we don't want our people to suffer. I also believe federal government should say, look, you've done well for us. These are projects we should be doing. Can you bring your bill? Let us refund you the money you have done these roads.
The President-elect will end his visit to Rivers State with the inauguration of the newly constructed Magistrate Court building on Thursday. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
Senate has now joined the House of Representatives and the ECOWAS Parliament to appeal to the Central Criminal Court, Old Bailey, London, for leniency in the sentencing of Senator Ike Ekweremadu and his wife, Beatrice. The Senate's decision to appeal for clemency followed a motion raised by Senator Chukwuka Otazi during plenary session on Wednesday. Now, this is coming after both the Lower Chamber and the ECOWAS Parliament on Tuesday appealed to the UK government to temper justice with mercy. In the motion, Senator Otazi recalled that Senator Ekweremadu was a former deputy president of the Senate for 12 years, a former speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, and has made enormous contributions to the development of democracy in Nigeria, West Africa, and beyond. He added that Senator Ekweremadu and his wife are first-time offenders with no previous criminal records. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, in his response, said he had written a letter to the British judicial authorities 2 weeks ago seeking clemency on behalf of the Senate. The National Association of Academic Technologists have kicked against alleged exclusion of its members from the recent 40% rise in salaries of some civil servants. The association also charged the federal government to pay members withheld salaries and appoint a new chairman for the 2009 Agreement Renegotiation Committee. TVC News' Joke Adisa has details.
The recent 40% pay rise to some civil servants in federal government employment is still causing ripples among labor unions. Although the authorities have explained the rationale behind the salary increase, nothing says the action is a recipe for industrial disharmony, if not revisited.
Till date, government has not deemed it necessary to commence the payment of what they freely and willingly offered to members of our union. And that is very concerned with the recent 40% salary increment that has left out members of our union who are federal government employees. This we consider as discriminatory, unjust, and unfair, and an invitation to industrial crisis.
Also of worry to the union is government's refusal to pay its members' salaries for 5.5 months they were on strike in 2022. NAT is convinced it went through due process in resulting to the industrial action and that government has no reason whatsoever to withhold members' salaries. It commiserates with the family of the former chairman of the 2009 Agreement Renegotiation Committee, Nimi Briggs, on his demise. Its concern now is that government appoints a new chairman to enable conclusion of deliberations on the controversial 2009 agreement.
To draw the attention of the public to the fact that the 2009 renegotiation has become more of an abandoned project. Federal government and NAT have not concluded the renegotiation as claimed by the Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige. We therefore use this forum to call on government to appoint a new chairman to conclude the negotiation with NAT without further delay.
The union looks onto the federal government to yield to its demands so as to avert another round of industrial unrest in the university system. TVC News, Abuja.